Hey everyone, welcome to the new demo scene for the Dragons Pack PBR. Let me get right into it. You can move the camera around and do all that nice fancy stuff. We also have the camera height and the camera zoom, which we'll zoom out just a little bit. Different lighting setups, sunset, daytime. This front lights, this is just the sun from the very front. Point lights is more what it would look like inside with point lights in a dungeon or cave or something. Some colored point lights so you can see them in different colors, and a spotlight which is directly ahead or from above, so you can see them in that kind of lighting as well. We're going to stick with daytime lighting for this, and we're going to actually stop the rotation about right here and go over some of the cool stuff. So the textures are completely customizable. Everything's customizable in the editor with sliders. You can adjust things separately, independently of the rest, so the nails and the underside and the skin are all separated, so you can do a lot of different things with it. If you really get into it. If you don't want to do any customization, I do include some options here. This is a blue dragon, and there's a green dragon and a red dragon, and of course the default. But I do encourage everyone to actually do the customization stuff because it's pretty powerful and kind of fun. There's also different body parts here, so the saddle, reins, and briddle, which are there for the dragon rider, which is currently being updated, so I'm not going to demo it in this video, can be turned on and off. We have three different heads. This is head A, then we've got head B and head C. Each one has a slightly different style. And then each one also goes pretty well with different of the back options. So right now the back option, we've got spikes. Let me zoom or raise the camera just a little bit. So we've got the spikes. Head B goes really well with the carapace because he's more tough. And head C goes really well with the fins because you got the fins on the head, fins on the body. And of course you can turn the back stuff off entirely too if you don't want anything on the back. We all have two different tail options as well. We'll start the camera rotation again so you can see that. We got tail B is currently there, and then tail A. So with tail B is more armored. So if you go with the fully armored, dragon, you can get many different looks out of this guy. And we're going to be adding mesh morphing soon as well, which will increase these looks even more so. So let's get into the animations here. I'm going to go back and stop the rotation. And we'll put them back on head A and tail A and the spikes for now. So let's see, animations. These all have sound effects now. There's more sound effects in the pack that I haven't included in these that you can mix and match. The whole point of all of my stuff, of course, is to allow massive customization so you can create a character that's really your own. So we do provide a lot of sound effects that you can mix and match and add effects to. Some reverb or something like that would be good depending on your project. And also for this demo scene, they're all being just played from the middle of the character. Generally for the fire breath and other vocalizations, you'd want it played from the mouth, and then the footsteps from the feet and whatnot. We're going to get that detailed in the demo scene. So let's go through some of these animations now. You may have heard some random grunting throughout the demo, but that's with the idle animation. So here's the run. And the audio controller script that I have in the package allows you to play some sounds like this breathing sound on a randomizer. So it's playing 20% of the loops it will play, which sometimes you'll hear it twice in a row, sometimes it won't play for a while, and every once in a while it'll just play like that. So the fire breath is actually on a loop that comes up and down. That's another part of the audio script. This is death. There's a couple audio versions in some of these as well. So you'll hear that with the screams here. And it's being played randomly. The script will just choose any from the array that you provide. We've got his air attacks too. Now we do have this wind loop playing. So there you go. And let me zoom, or let the camera rotate a little bit here, and we'll zoom out a little bit as well. So this is his flying idle. He's got, for his wings, he's got sounds coming down and up. Those are two separate sounds. You can fly fast. This is equivalent to the walk, but for flying, so he's still going pretty fast. You can also fly backwards. I like that fly backward pose. And his fly idle. And so he's got his attacks. A little claw attack. Fire breath. We'll do that in a second. His dive down. In the demo, he'll just pop back up over and over. His glide. Fly gut hit. And his fly death. So let's go back and see that once from further up. It's a loop, and then at the end it switches to the final drop. And you can see my code in the demo scene. I basically call the final part of that animation right as he gets underneath a certain threshold in his Y height, his height, and there's better ways to doing it depending on your game. Obviously, this is a flat ground, so that's easy. But without a flat ground, you might have a higher ground, so you might need to use a raycast down. And at the very end, I actually switch him up a little bit because he can sometimes end up a little under the ground depending on just how it works frame by frame. So there's definitely different ways of accomplishing the death, but the animations are there for you, and the sound effects are there for you as well. Alright, so the music you hear is a song that we're calling Dragon's Flight. And what you've got is a bunch of loops. These are all the different layers that you've got to work with. And what you're hearing right now is the composer's mix. Everything's just up to the default level, and that's this default snapshot. Now I've pre-set up some snapshots for you. If you haven't used the Unity Audio Mixer, it's really powerful. It's just like a mixer deck in many ways that you'd find in any studio, where each track can be raised and lowered and have different effects onto it. So that gives you the really powerful ability to create your own songs, or at least to modify these songs to better fit the mood of your game. A very simple thing is to add a filter and make a paused version. So we're going to listen to the default for just a second, and then I'll switch to the paused version. So that's a low-pass filter, and this is a great technique if you, your players pause the game. This way, not only do they see that the game's paused, but they can hear that's paused as well. We have some different snapshots as well. This is the alternate, and you can actually see them changing down here in the demo scene. One issue with my demo is once you change any of these, the snapshots stop working. I'm not sure exactly why. It's not an issue with Unity, it's just my own coding. And this percussion snapshot is not playing. It brings down a lot of the non-percussion. It brings down the action strings, it brings down the horns, and the vocals. So especially as you can hear here, it's much more percussion forward. Generally, there's going to be vocals over this part. Much more percussion forward on this one. So of course, I want you to hear the big difference between this. It's basically a completely different song. Without the melody there, it's much different. You can use it in different ways. So in essence, I mean, you got the dragon. You can use this track in any part of your game. You don't even have to use the dragon to use this track, of course. But then just these snare drums and the other drums by themselves could be used in any other scene that makes sense. So here's some relaxed versions. Okay, so this is relaxed number 1. So Relax 2 has some drums going on, but it's much more quiet, much more, even though it still has an energy to the song, it's much more relaxing than the default. So you can just definitely hear that there. And you can just also play with this yourself. So with snare, bring that up. These shouts that come throughout every once in a while, and then we get the vocals. And actually, let me show you this inside the mixer itself, since we're on it. Alright, so here's the mixer, and we're going to go to SoundFX Studio. Music and the Dragon's Flight mixer, and then you can click this button to edit and play mode. So I'm going to create a new snapshot here. Edit and play mode and create a new snapshot. I'm going to call this demo video snapshot, because once it's in edit and play mode, any changes that you make will be held. So this is my current setup. So I'm going to So you can play with these as you see fit during the song. You can just let it loop over and over as you adjust it to get the sound that you really want. So now the action strings are almost throughout the entire thing. Sometimes I like to bring them down. So there's a lot you can do with this, and I really encourage you to play around with it. You know, I know when you're making a game, sometimes you don't want to, you know, get stuck on some details like textures and stuff, and that's fine. If you don't want to, that's fine. But I highly encourage you, spend 10 minutes, just try it out. It's really easy. All you have to do, press play, click the, double click on the mixer right here to load it up, click the edit and play mode. Don't forget to create a new snapshot so you can play with it yourself. And you know, apparently I'm almost out of disk space, so I gotta go. But yeah, have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions.